can about what's going on. There are a lot of people that have pulled a Flippin Road and Walt Stevens Road. This road has been blocked off by police, and a lot of folks are coming to this area looking, just trying to figure out what's going on themselves as well. So that's what we are seeing, and that's what we've learned from out here at the scene right now. We're going to continue to work to gather new details for you guys and pass them along as soon as we get them.
So Jay Bell, just to clarify, you said that you've talked to the family members that say there could be a teenager in the house with that person who has a weapon, along with a woman who may be pregnant. So there could be two people inside the house with the person with the weapon?
That is what we are hearing from those family members. The family members also saying that it is their loved one that is the owner of the home, and we are also told that there may be multiple weapons inside that home as well. And then again, I do want to clarify that this information is coming from these family members. This has not been confirmed by police or any deputies or law enforcement agencies that are out here at this time. We are still waiting to get updated from them.
All right. Did they say if it was a man or a woman with the weapon in the house?
Cheryl, it seems as if there may have been weapons that belong to both individuals or multiple people inside that home, so it's not clear at this point, but that's the information that we're getting from family members.
Okay, great. We want to update. Thank you, Jennifer Bellamy in Henry County. We have a really important update that Grady has now confirmed they have two people there at the hospital. Are we confirming two officers? Right. I'm checking with our team.
And that's what I wanted to talk about, because earlier we were talking about how the Lifeline helicopter, we didn't think that they were transporting someone, that it was just EMS on the ground, which is why they had opened up the express lanes and shut down the rest of 75. But we just saw some video that we shot there earlier. Now you can see this is some more video here of the ambulance arriving at the hospital. So it looks like now we are going to confirm two at Grady Hospital, one transported EMS right here, some video right here, and then another one via the Lifeline helicopter.
Okay.
So it looks like, yes, we do have two there.
This is very important because we were waiting for this confirmation and we didn't want to report this until we could be certain, but we can now confirm from Grady Hospital there are two Henry County police officers at Grady Hospital being treated after this officer-involved shooting. Two officers being treated at Grady, which is a level 1 trauma center. And we will get that video again for you that showed the life flight, because you could see someone on a stretcher being taken into the helicopter and the helicopter taking off from that point. That really can speak to the severity of an injury. They brought in that helicopter to get them to Grady quickly, so we know one came by ambulance and one came by Lifeline helicopter.
And you can see the volume of the response here. I mean, Georgia Capitol Police, we have Georgia State Patrol, you have APD, you had Jonesboro. Here's something that we had earlier from the Sky Tracker. This is the barricade that they formed right here, and there it is again on I-75 northbound at Hudson Bridge, with the Hero trucks actually putting out a traffic control to keep all these vehicles off the road. The express lane to the right of your screen there, you can see very few cars trickling by there. They kept that wide open for the EMS. This is before they closed everything off. Believe me, they had everything shut down. They had police forming a barricade along with those cones and the Hero trucks, and then they were diverting traffic off at just about every exit behind that. I got word that Hudson Bridge was closed off, where we're looking at right here, Jodico Road, and here we are again seeing the video. That's an individual being loaded up and transported on the Lifeline helicopter, the helicopter landing in the field there. We've seen them land on the interstates before, so this entire subdivision, as Jennifer Bellamy was telling us, quite a police response right now. Obviously, if this is any type of a hostage situation, we do know that there are individuals in there with weapons and other individuals, possibly hostages. Citizens, could be family members. We're not exactly sure, but this entire neighborhood will more than likely be cordoned off and become some sort of a SWAT scene. As we can see, it looks like a SWAT vehicle right here, along with fire crews, EMS, and again, quite a police response. So a very, very active scene happening right now. Breaking news. Look at the two looks like motorcycle officers that just either just put their bikes down to respond to the scene. But obviously a very active situation as this unfolds, as we once again see the video of the ambulance arriving at Grady.
And there's good perspective when you see the 11 Alive Sky Tracker video of the neighborhood, because there are a lot lot of homes. This is a very big and busy subdivision on a spring break week and a lot of people around. Very important update I want to share with you. I'm bringing in Tiffany Sherrod here because she just got off the phone with Melissa Robinson with Henry County Director of Communications. So here's what I can tell you. We know 2 officers have been shot. We just learned both are listed in stable with non-life-threatening injuries. And that is really good news as we saw life flight helicopters and shutting down the highway to get them to the ambulance. Now, stable condition can be a pretty vague description, but to me, the thing we cannot stress enough is that they're telling us these are non-life-threatening injuries. So if you know someone who works in Henry County, spread the word. This is really encouraging. There's still a lot happening, but this is a very important point. We also are hearing a lot more about what led up to this call. So we are hearing from Henry County that there was a 911 call from a woman who was checking on her sister at this address. She opened the garage door, sees blood, and then calls 911, needs some help. Officers come at that point, and that's when some shots were fired and officers went down. Tiffany, I want to bring you in. You've been on the phone gathering all this information. Tell me anything more that they were able to tell you in Henry County about how that situation played out. What we don't know is whose blood was in that garage.
Right, we don't know whose blood was in the garage. We were speaking with Terry Pickard with NBC.
Okay.
So Terry Pickard with NBC was talking with Melissa Robinson with the Henry County Communications Director. And basically, we don't know whose blood it was. We just know that the sister hadn't heard from her sister. The woman hadn't heard from her sister in a while. We don't know if it was days, we don't know if it was weeks, but she went over to the home to check. She opened the garage door and saw the blood and she just backed out. We know that she backed out of the home and she called police. By the time police got there, that's when the shots were fired. We don't know where the police officers were hit, if they were inside the garage, if they were outside in the yard. We don't know that either. So that's still more information that we're gathering.
And I just want to reiterate, Jennifer Bellamy is there on the scene in Henry County, and she had talked to a couple of family members who say that they know the owner of the home, and they are saying that there could be a teenager in that house along with a woman who is pregnant, along with the man that has the weapon. What we again don't know is the blood in the garage and what transpired before the sister called 911 and the officers came. So right now, kind of 2 different situations we're keeping a close eye on. One, Grady Hospital here live, which we confirm 2 officers from Henry County in stable condition, non-life-threatening injuries. That information just confirmed moments ago. The other situation playing out in Stockbridge at Eagles Way with Henry County, where there is still a person barricaded in this home with a weapon. Family telling us there are other people in the house too. And the question is anybody hurt, injured inside that house? We just don't know at this point.
Yeah, we don't know whose blood that was.
Okay.
That's the concerning part, too.
All right, Tiffany, thank you for the information. I know you'll come back and let us know when we can update that. But again, I can't say it enough. The fact that we can now confirm that 2 officers, non-life-threatening injuries, is a sigh of relief. We don't know the extent of those injuries. They're obviously serious enough that they were taken to Grady. And again, we don't know a name of these officers or if they're men or women.
Yeah, and you talk about the situation with the Life Flight helicopter and shutting down the roads and everything. The situation, when it involves any type of, as we're looking at more video of the Life Flight helicopter, you know, they're being treated on the scene there. It's a very traumatic situation going on. Even a graze or a bullet wound anywhere to the body could be life-threatening. So that is why they took no chances. They dispatched the Life Flight helicopter. They shut down 75 northbound at Hudson Bridge. They wanted to get these EMS rolling. And as we saw in some earlier video, the EMS arriving at Grady. And what teamwork, too, between the Georgia State Patrol, Atlanta PD. We saw Jonesboro PD, Clayton County, Henry County, so many different jurisdictions responding to this, as we see now here with the SWAT units on the scene, with fire crews there as well. And this will be a very active scene. Obviously, there's still a lot to resolve here because we don't exactly know what's happening, what's going to transpire in that house. Hopefully, God willing, no more shots being fired or anything like that, that this could be resolved peacefully.
And we know at that scene, family members of the people involved right now barricaded in the house. We were able to talk to them and I want to share a little bit of what they had to say just moments ago.
We are fearful. We don't know what's going on. We just want somebody to communicate with us. That's the only thing that we want. We just want somebody to be able to just let us know if she's okay. Let us know if my little cousin is okay or Kevion. We just want to make sure that they're okay.
And this is the same family that came to check on a sister in the first place, which alerted police that there was a situation inside. So understandably, they are scared, they are worried, they are not in communication with people inside there. We know that it's typical protocol that police are going to try to be in communication to try to talk that person out. This is a live scene now, so this is what's happening right at this moment in Henry County. Set the scene again in Stockbridge, Eagles Way, a very busy, big subdivision on a spring break week, and you've got a big police presence, to say the least. That's an understatement.
Yeah, a lot of mobile units here. You see what looks to be like a command center down there, and obviously police are going to try to get around this neighborhood because they want to clear everyone out of the way. They want to make sure that this scene is completely clear. So I would imagine this entire subdivision, not just where this cul-de-sac is here, but this entire subdivision will be cleared out of the way and no one will be allowed in there. So at 12:47 right now in the afternoon, we're not sure when they're going to have this situation resolved. Obviously, with some sort of a SWAT situation, a standoff, a possible hostage situation, this could continue into the afternoon and even into the evening. We don't know. So a large subdivision, a very large police presence. We saw SWAT, we saw the mobile command unit there, which seemed to be moving through the neighborhood, possibly alerting other residents. As we said before, they even told the sky tracker up in the air, several hundred feet in the air, to back away because they thought this individual may have had some sort of a long rifle capable of hurting somebody up in a helicopter several hundred feet away. So they are certainly going to make quite a clear area here in this subdivision. Again, this looks like it's off of, if you're anywhere near 75, as we pull back the scene there a little bit, it looks like it's away from major interstates. And again, look, more of this presence here. It looks like where they're setting up. Now, it looks like there's another, if this is a live shot that we're looking at, it actually looks like there's another Life Flight helicopter standing by. So
and some ambulances as well.
And ambulances as well, you're right. So again, they don't know what's going to happen here. They're going to, this is video right here that we showed you before.
And this is not real time. This is video from just a little bit ago of someone being transported in that helicopter, and we know another officer was taken to Grady Hospital by ambulance. That is such a good perspective of how many people are really affected directly, because there's going to be a point no one in, no one out of that neighborhood, and officers are going to make sure that people stay in their homes safely. The last tweet from Henry County Police was active scene, hold tight, don't go in, don't come out. This is back live now of our sky tracker over the scene, and it's quite spread out. And the family that Jennifer Bellamy live at the scene in Henry County talked to, and we saw officers talking to as well, is giving them some important information, because they at some point need to know who is in that house, who could potentially be at risk, could someone be injured in that house, what is happening. We do know that the first call came because there was concern, there was worry about what had happened in that house, because someone had not heard from their sister. They went to check on it. When they opened the garage, they saw blood in the garage. That was the impetus for the first 911 call, and police responded, and we can confirm 2 officers were shot in this situation. They are being treated at Grady Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. And according to family, they're telling us that there is a teenager in the house and a woman who they say is pregnant as well. We don't know if anyone's been hurt inside that home.
Yeah, and the uncertainty of the whole scene here, not just from the immense police presence here, but what we just talked about, what we saw, there are still EMS on the scene, a Life Flight helicopter still there, not even on, it's just kind of just sitting in the field there. So obviously they are hoping for the best, could be preparing for the worst. They don't know. These situations, as I'm sure you probably hear about, they take quite a while. There could be talks that happen, any kind of a negotiation or whatnot, to just try to get these individuals out of the house, get the innocent victims out, get them safely out of the house, especially as you mentioned, a teenager, younger folks, anybody involved in this. They want to get them out and talk to whoever is involved with this, whoever was the person with the gun. They want to just try to get this straightened out, figure it out. And again, as we pull back, you see, and you keep mentioning this, Cheryl, this is a rather large subdivision here. So they are going to keep this area on lockdown, cleared up. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and take a quick break over to the traffic center, because I want to find out exactly Eagles Way. I want to make sure I know exactly where this is, because it could still impact some of the major roads in the area as we kind of get ready little by little the next couple hours for some type of a rush hour, even though we are on spring break. So
Sure.
So let me just leave you for a couple seconds.
Okay.
I'm going to take a quick look. And again, GDOT, the last word we got from them, their estimated time of clearance to where they're going to try and get most of their units off the road at 1 p.m. But right now, they're out there 75 if you have to travel in the area near Hudson Bridge, Jodico Road, in from Henry County towards McDonough or Stockbridge. You may see a large police presence or a hero presence. Just know that they are out there monitoring the roads just in case, God forbid, anything else happens and they need to transport anybody else to a local hospital. So I'll be right back.
Sure.
And we'll continue to monitor the scene here.
All right, Crash, thanks so much. I do want to send it back out to Jennifer Bellamy, who is live on the scene in Henry County in Stockbridge. Jennifer, you had talked to the family. What else can you fill us in on?
Well, Cheryl, again, when we did speak with those family members, they were very concerned about getting information about their loved ones that are just down the street. This is Flippin Road, and that is as far as we, the journalists, have been able to get right now. This is a look down the road of what we can see so far. We do know that those two ladies, those two family members that we spoke with, were actually... We do know that those two ladies that were taken in that car have hopefully been taken to reunite with other family members that are waiting for additional information. We are working with some technical issues out here, so that's what we have. If we can come over here, I'll show y'all, and I'll try to stand closer to the camera so you can hear what I'm saying. These folks over here at this BP, many of them tell us that they just live in the area. They are not able to get back home, so they are just waiting here, looking for more information and waiting to be able to reach their homes again. There are some other folks that have identified themselves as members of organizations with those that are involved in this situation involving police. They tell us they didn't want to speak, but they are in the organization along with those people. And they're trying to get information, again, just like those family members, working to see what they can learn. So a lot of people out here waiting for updates, either to get home or to find out about their loved ones out here as well. So that's what we are working with right here. Again, we have learned from NBC that those officers are in stable condition. They were taken to Grady Hospital. A lot of folks out here, again, maybe not seeing much, but very much a part of this situation as well out here on this scene. Again, this is Flippin Road, just beyond Walt Stevens and Red Oak Road. And again, we did speak with those family members. We'll go over again what we heard from them. They are telling us that this is their cousin, their sister, and they believe that there is a woman who is about 8 months pregnant inside that home along with a teen. And again, this is information that we are just getting from those family members that were out here moments ago. They say right now that they are still working to get more information themselves about what is going on and the conditions of everyone involved. They, again, were taken, it appears, by police down to be closer to the scene along with other family members. And again, we have not confirmed these details with officers, with law enforcement, as we have not been able to get an update. As you can imagine, they have their hands full trying to handle this situation. We do have Jonesboro police out here, as well as people from the Clayton County Sheriff's Office. Those are other agencies that have come out here to assist with this investigation. We've also seen multiple Georgia State Patrol vehicles come in this area as well. So there's a lot of support for Henry County as they are working to bring this situation to a resolution. Cheryl, back to you.
All right, thank you for the insight, Jennifer. It's interesting to see how many people are there. I see a lot of little ones, little children playing behind you. We've been talking about this spring break week. Got a lot of people who are home, and this is a huge subdivision. And from your perspective, where you're standing, Jennifer, you said you're a little bit of ways from the house where this standoff situation is happening. I think it just speaks to how widespread this is geographically. There are hundreds of homes in this subdivision, and at this point, from what you can tell, they're not allowing anybody in, right?
That is exactly what the situation appears to be right now, Cheryl. And again, most of the people that we spoke with over there tell us they don't know the people that are involved. They are just trying to get home. And again, this area is shut down. So people living down this area, I know y'all have mentioned the sheer volume of homes that are in this area. These people are not able to make it home as police are doing this very important work out here. And so these folks are just waiting here, many of them just stopping because just beyond this gas station is where law enforcement have blocked off this road. This is Flippin again. And that is why so many people are just standing around at at this gas station trying to get some new information and hopefully some good news about their friends and loved ones for some of these other folks that are out here as well.
All right, Jennifer, we saw from our perspective from SkyTracker 11 that there was another looked to be a medical helicopter and at least one ambulance on standby. Have you seen anything that points to that? I think to me that really just speaks to the fact that this is very much playing out moment by moment as we speak.
Well, we did hear from someone at the gas station that they did see a helicopter come down, but we do not have any information that we have seen about that ourselves. We cannot see that area ourselves. What we did see is a big unit from Henry County, from Clayton County arriving on the scene. I just tweeted that video out moments ago. So it was escorted by other patrol units, adding to the support, adding to the resources that are needed right at that scene right now. But again, we did hear from folks that they did see the heavy police presence, that they did see the ambulance coming down, and we did hear from those family members that they are just very concerned about their loved one that are in these homes. And also, again, we did mention those family members saying that someone is pregnant and that there is a young person, a teen involved, and so they are just very concerned about everyone that is there. I do not believe at this point that they have had communication with their loved ones, so it's especially concerning for them at this time. Cheryl.
Sure, Jennifer, I'm going to ask you one other thing, but I just want to reset here. We're going live here on 11alive.com in this breaking news situation. We're going to update on 11 Alive on the networks of NBC here in just a moment, but we'll continue our stream here on 11alive.com as this situation plays out in Henry County. 2 Henry County police officers being treated at Grady. We can confirm that they are unstable with non-life-threatening injuries. What is still happening in that neighborhood where Jennifer Bellamy is a man holed up inside a house with weapons, could be many weapons. We're hearing from the family a teenager and possibly a pregnant woman in the house. Jennifer, one detail we confirmed through Henry County was that when the sister went to check on a loved one at the house, check on her sister, and opened the garage, there was blood in the garage. That detail just sticking with me because something has happened in that house where there's blood in the garage, and you keep talking about, this family understandably very concerned and worried, and that just keeps coming to my mind that this started off this chain of events in the first place.
Yeah, Cheryl, and some of the people that we spoke with, one identified themselves as a cousin and another identified themselves as a sister. We didn't hear much from that sister. She was trying to open the communication lines with her other family members that were down there. And so again, they hopefully have been allowed down there to get new information.
All right, we appreciate all the information you're gathering. We're going to update here on NBC here in just a moment. We'll continue our stream here on 11alive.com. This is a live view of our helicopter over that neighborhood on a spring break week when so many families are home right now. They are just being held out of that neighborhood to keep it safe. I'm Cheryl Preheim live in the 11 Alive newsroom, where we can confirm that 2 Henry County police officers are being treated at Grady Hospital after being shot. They're in stable condition with no life-threatening injuries. 2 officers at Grady Hospital. This started out as a standoff that's still happening in Henry County in this neighborhood in Eagle Way in Stockbridge. A man with a gun inside a house with possibly a teenager and a pregnant woman. We are live and continuing our coverage on 11alive.com. All right, back out with you live here on 11alive.com. Our helicopter is over this neighborhood. And families here inside this neighborhood in Stockbridge, roughly 30 miles south of Midtown Atlanta. Right now, 2 Henry County police officers are at Grady Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. We're hearing in stable condition. We've still not heard the names of those officers. There are a lot of Atlanta Police Department officers there right now, and officers from other jurisdictions who have come to support Henry County and the friends and family who have gathered at the hospital. But 30-some miles away here over Stockbridge in Henry County, a standoff continues inside that house. And right now, the most information we're getting really coming from a couple of family members who talked to Jennifer Bellamy at the scene, who tell us they're very concerned about other loved ones inside that home. They're telling us a teenager inside and a woman who who is pregnant, maybe inside as well, and they're talking about a number of weapons that they were aware of inside of that house. We have confirmed through Henry County that this started with someone going to check on that home, check on a sister they'd not heard from in a while, and they were very worried. So they were able to open the garage, and when they saw the floor of the garage, they saw blood in the garage. That's when they called 911 immediately, and Henry County Police responded to the scene. At some point after they got there, 2 officers were shot. We have video of one being life-flighted in a helicopter taken to Grady. The other was taken to Grady via ambulance. 75 shut down for a time to make a clear and fast path for that ambulance to the hospital. Again, want to reiterate, our last information was 2 officers in stable condition crash with non-life-threatening injuries. But with as many people are being held out of this neighborhood, what do you expect might be the impact here at 1 o'clock in the afternoon for traffic around there?
Well, we know we're getting ready for spring break. I mean, we've got, the start of spring break as of last week. Now, we're definitely going to see a pretty big flow of traffic. Let me step out of the way right here, folks, so you can get a better look of I-75. Now, at one point, I-75 at Hudson Bridge completely shut down. That's what we were talking about. What they did was to allow those EMS units to roll. In fact, now we're seeing that the express lanes have been reopened to their normal southbound flow for an afternoon. But, of course, I-75 moving again. Let me show you some of the maps. We'll take it right down here because we could still see quite a lot of congestion on 75, folks heading southbound down through Highway 138, getting to the scene where they had all lanes completely shut down. 75 north at 675, they were taking no chances. They just wanted to clear the interstates. Now, the indicator still showing the black on the northbound side of 75. We know for a fact that has been reopened, but we are still seeing some delays, not just on 75 north, but of course 75 southbound. In fact, I'm going to zoom out a little bit more. And Highway 42, that's the flow where the arrows were. I was giving that as the alternate. Highway 42, also known as Highway 23, basically traveling from Stockbridge down towards McDonough. As you can see, a good amount of traffic now on that road. I think it's a safe bet, even with the volume that's on 75. I think it's a safe bet to go ahead and use I-75. If you're traveling out of town, if you're heading from the city, anywhere on 75 through Clayton into Henry County, I think it's all right now to go ahead and take I-75. As we look again, I circled Jodico Road there. That was one of the roads that they had completely shut down. In fact, they weren't allowing any traffic to come in or out of the area. And here we are between Stockbridge and McDonough. Of course, the scene down towards McDonough with this subdivision that we've been watching here. And as you can imagine, I've just basically circled off the whole area. Looks like they're not even letting folks come in from 23 into McDonough. And as you can imagine, a lot of extra heavy traffic around this area. 1 o'clock in the afternoon, maybe a lot of folks are off. Maybe some folks are getting ready to head out for a long spring break weekend. But certainly in this McDonough area, you're going to find a large police presence. And here's the good news, though, as far as the roads are concerned. I-75 reopened in both directions on the right-hand side of your screen. That's the southbound flow. We've definitely got some volume out there southbound. Looks like northbound just about recovered as we see the express lanes now doing what they normally do in the afternoon. So from a traffic standpoint, it looks like other than the subdivision itself, Cheryl, and other than some of the surrounding areas, it looks like we're going to be all right as far as I-75 is concerned. But as you've been mentioning, we're still dealing with a situation down there, some sort of a hostage situation or some sort of a SWAT standoff situation where it could unfold again, where they may need these lanes. They may close them down again, whether it's for EMS or for any other particular reason, as we look again live at this subdivision. And it's a rather large subdivision, as you have mentioned, and we see quite a police presence. We saw Jonesboro Police, Clayton County, Henry County, GSP has been on the scene, of course, APD a little bit further towards the city as they were escorting that one officer in the ambulance. So a continued fluid scene right here, and one that could play out for quite some time.
Crash, I keep thinking about the family members here who are just in this waiting game, like a torturous waiting game. There's an ambulance and a helicopter on standby. There are people inside this home with a man with a gun who is obviously dangerous. There are the 2 officers in the hospital right now, and they're wondering if their loved ones are okay inside and what happened in the first place to make this escalate in the way it did. And we're now going well into 2 hours plus. The initial call came in just before 11 o'clock to Clayton County, and then, about an hour and 15 minutes ago, Clayton County had said to residents there, hey, there's an active situation, stay out, don't come come near, and if you're in your homes, stay inside. And that's a long time now that this has been unresolved, and for whatever reason they're not able to convince this person to drop the weapons and come out safely, and we do not know the condition of the people inside that house.
Yeah, and that's a frightening situation when you think about it. If any individual is brazen enough to fire at police officers, they probably won't have any hesitation to shoot any other individual, whether it be a family member or a neighbor or whatnot, which is why we're seeing such a huge police presence here. They are clearing this area out. You probably won't see a whole lot of civilians walking around this particular area as we try to zero in on which house. We see SWAT units out there. We see several jurisdictions responding. As you could tell from this aerial shot, the chopper's still up, but we're very well zoomed in, because at one point they were telling us to back the chopper away because they thought this individual had a long rifle which was capable of possibly taking a shot at the helicopter. So we zoom in on the situation here. Again, it's frightening to think, as you say, that they have ambulance, a couple of them actually, and a life flight helicopter standing by waiting. We obviously would love the situation to resolve itself where there are no other injuries, nobody else shot, no family members, no innocent bystanders, but certainly they are prepared for what could be the worst. So we'll see as it unfolds.
All right, some of our bridge team have just handed me some new information. We've got new information from Henry County, and we also have new information from people at the scene. I'm going to start with the ones at the scene, because Henry County is pretty much confirming what we've been sharing with you all along, which is 2 officers been shot, transported to Grady Memorial, 1 by air, 1 by ground, non-life-threatening injuries. But we've just talked to a 39-year-old woman, a woman named Danielle Woodruff, who's given us some new information. This is according to a woman named Danielle Woodruff, who's there in the neighborhood. She says she's the woman's cousin, one of the women inside the house, who's 39 years old and pregnant. Woodruff says that the suspect is her unborn child's father. The due date is the end of this month, so she's 8 months pregnant, very close to delivery. According to Danielle Woodruff, she says there's a 15-year-old inside the home with a suspect, and that the suspect has held a gun to this child's head. Oh. And the suspect has been texting with family members. So this gives me chills, because there's a child in that home. Again, this is from a friend of the family. This is not from police, but they're telling us there's a 15-year-old inside that home who's been threatened by the suspect. The suspect is in communication, according to family members, with those family members, and we know that the family members are very close to police on the scene, and they are trained at trying to resolve these situations, diffuse the situation to get everyone out safely. That is the outcome that everybody is hoping for. But there are weapons in that house, a child in that house, and then a woman who is set to deliver a child any day now. And
I think if you could take any good news out of the situation, is the fact that there is communication that's going on
true.
right now. If that suspect were not communicating with police and decided to just barricade themselves in the house, obviously with the 15-year-old talking about a gun to that 15-year-old's head, with this person communicating, I think that is the best news we can get right now, and hopefully those family members will be able to communicate, look, what's done is done. We can't stop that. These officers are in stable condition from what we understand at Grady Hospital, but perhaps family members can convince this individual, look, no more violence. Let's stop this right now. Put the gun down and let's resolve this thing peacefully, we hope. And
that new information from the woman's cousin, Danielle Woodruff, really reveals that this looks to be a situation where it's all domestic within a family. This is all within family members inside of that house. Again, she's saying, the cousin's saying, the suspect is the father of the child that's set to be born here very shortly. What I find encouraging by that information from Ms. Woodruff is that they're in communication, and we've not heard about anyone injured inside that house. There are people inside the house, but we're not hearing about any injuries of anyone inside the house.
So we just got that from Henry County Police. Basically, they're saying that there's another potential civilian victim inside the house. They do confirm that. They just say they cannot confirm at this time. Okay. So there's potential for another person who is a victim inside the home, but police are telling us that they cannot confirm at this time.
So that would be 3 people inside with the suspect with the gun.
Correct.
Okay. This is a very, very serious situation, goes without saying. I want to send it now to 11 Live reporter John Sherrick, who has been at Grady Hospital watching a stream of police officers come through there. John, a relief, I should say, when we did get the news that it was non-life threatening injuries. But what are you hearing there? Because even stable condition can be a pretty vague description of how officers are doing.
Right, of course, stable means they're not getting better, they're not getting worse, they are stable. Now, we're hearing from the Henry County Police spokesperson that they were brought here in serious condition. And then we heard from the Henry County spokesperson for county government saying that as serious as the injuries and wounds appear to be, they are non-life-threatening wounds. So we are waiting and working to find out more about where things are with the officers who are being treated here at Grady Memorial Hospital. It was quite a scene earlier, about 2 hours ago, when Atlanta Police, Henry County Police, Georgia State Police, MARTA Police, every police agency you can think of from the city of Atlanta and DeKalb County, all rushing here to Grady Hospital. The streets around Grady Hospital were blocked while the officers were waiting for the ambulance to arrive with one of the officers. The other officer was brought here by helicopter. Some family members were here. I saw a law enforcement chaplain arrive to be here with family, I would think it's safe to say, as they wait for information. We've seen other family members outside the hospital on their cell phones. They're trying to get information. A couple who identified themselves as the parents-in-law of one of the officers said they're not able to find out any information, but that the officer's wife is with that officer. They described him as a military veteran who'd done 2 tours of duty for the Army in Afghanistan and Iraq. Very proud of their son-in-law and very worried and concerned, as you might imagine, might guess. So we're working to find out more here at Grady Hospital as doctors treat these 2 officers. Cheryl, back to you.
And John, I'm always struck by the officers who come as well. They are indeed a family. They're all a family, and we've been reporting that there are, according to the GBI, 28 officer-involved shootings just since January 1st. So this is sadly not uncommon. Have you had a chance to talk to any of the officers, or what's the feeling among the law enforcement there?
No, not yet. The officers, as they drive here, they gather down at the end of this street where the emergency entrance is, and they talk with each other and then go inside to be with each other. And that count of 28, I know it was 27 on Monday when we covered the officer-involved shooting in the city of Union City. And then, will this be the 28th and 29th? The GBI, as far as I know, has not yet been invited by Henry County Police to participate in an investigation. Those numbers are for the number of cases that the GBI has investigated since the first of the year by request of the law enforcement agencies whose officers were involved in these shootings. Right. So the GBI, as far as we know, is awaiting that sort of request from Henry County, if in fact that request comes. But this situation certainly is fluid in Henry County, and all of the officers that are tied up there trying to bring a peaceful resolution, at least as far as they can at this point, are probably not thinking yet beyond where they go from here. And maybe we'll learn something more this afternoon as to whether the GBI will participate in an investigation here. Right,
you make a great point. We did check with the GBI. As of this hour, they have not been requested on this case, but it may be, as you point out, that it's because the case is still playing out as we speak. And John, I was just thinking about just in Henry County. I know that you have covered this as well. I remember in December, Officer Michael Smith was killed as he was struggling with a suspect. So Henry County has experienced tremendous loss just within the last few months, and here they are yet again. Hopefully, these officers can make a full recovery, but 2 more officers here in the hospital.
And these investigations last for months and months, necessarily so they can get all the information, all of the details that they need. You recall in Locust Grove, just over a year ago, when a Locust Grove police officer, Chase Maddox, was shot and killed in a confrontation with the suspect. 2 Henry County Sheriff's deputies were shot and wounded, and one of them is still in recovery and having a long, very long and difficult recovery, but is expected to return to duty. The other sheriff's deputy has returned to duty. And it was just in the past few days that investigators confirmed that officer-involved death, fatal shot, was not friendly fire. That was one aspect of the investigation that they felt that they had to investigate and assure everyone that there was no flurry of bullets where perhaps a law enforcement officer's bullet had killed Chase Maddox, and they wanted to confirm that it didn't, and they did confirm that it was the suspect they were trying to arrest who fired the fatal shot. So that's a year now since that terrible tragedy and terrible incident, and then the case in December where a Henry County police officer was going to a dentist's office to respond to a report of a man who they were concerned was causing some trouble in the dentist's offices at like 8 in the morning. No indication that there would be any sort of violence or any trouble, and that it was a struggle for the gun, and the officer was shot in the face, as I recall. And Michael Smith was treated, and they worked very hard to help him, and hoping and praying that he would survive, and he did not survive. So every law enforcement agency is touched whenever there's an officer-involved shooting, and certainly many of the law enforcement agencies around here continue to be impacted when one of some other agency's officer is wounded in an incident. That affects everybody, and everybody is doing all they can to support the officers and their families.
No question.
John, hey, Crash Clark here. Look, I understand whenever we deal with traffic situations and a lifelike helicopter is dispatched, we know sometimes that the injuries can be quite severe. I know you've got the report from Grady that both officers were stable, and as you mentioned, that means they're not getting better, they're not getting worse. Have you heard anything from Grady about any of the officers possibly being rushed into any type of a surgery or anything like that?
No details like that yet, Crash. And of course, some of that information will come out later, but because of HIPAA laws, federal HIPAA laws, privacy laws, they don't release a lot of that information like they did maybe a few years ago for concerned family and friends who want to know. So right now, we don't have those kinds of details as to how the doctors are treating the officers, just that they are here being treated. And according to one county official, they are in serious condition. According to a police spokesman, they are in serious condition and perhaps non-life-threatening medical wounds that are being treated now. So exactly how the doctors are treating them, whether there are surgeries involved, we may know more about that as the afternoon goes on.
All right, John Sherrick, live at Grady Memorial Hospital. I'm going to let you go. I know you need to gather some more information, but I just want to reiterate one point that John made, that he was able to talk to the mother and father-in-law of one of the officers who was shot. They tell us he is a military veteran, an Army veteran, 2 tours of duty, and they did say that his wife is with him, so she's been able to get to the hospital, and they are together. John Sherrick will continue to gather information there at Grady Hospital, where 2 Henry County police officers are being treated. Back live out now to the scene in Henry County that is still playing out. The initial call came in at 10:46 when a woman went to check on her sister in a home. She had not heard from her for a while, opened the garage door, saw blood in the garage, and called 911. That was at 10:46. And at 1:19, we still have a man with a weapon inside that house. And family tells us there's a teenage boy, 15-year-old, in that house with a weapon at times to his head, and a pregnant woman. Henry County also tells us there could be a 3rd person inside that house. We're told the suspect is in communication via text message with family members outside of that home. We do have some sound we want to share with you from a neighbor. Right now, people in that area, Eagle Ridge Subdivision, are being held in the outskirts of the subdivision for their safety, and we've been talking to some people who are there close by.
I actually have live footage from my ringer that I have on my doorbell. It's a doorbell ring, and it went off when I was in Marietta. And I looked at it and I was like, that looks like my street, before I even knew about what was going on with the news. I said, it looks like my street. And I up, and by golly, it is. So I called the newsroom. I was like, oh my God, I have a live feed from my ring. Yeah, very. Oh my God, yes. But it's the street. Our street is so super quiet. It's very, very quiet. So for this to be going on, it's amazing. Wow. And I pray for the officer. Is it one or two? I thought I heard two. Yeah, it's two officers. So my prayers do deeply go out for them. But it was shocking because, like I said, my street is very, very, very quiet.
Eagles Ridge Subdivision is like so many subdivisions in Metro Atlanta. This is about 30 miles south of Midtown Atlanta in Henry County. Hundreds and hundreds of homes, and this is a time of year as people are on spring break. There are a lot of families and children around. So she is one of many who are being held outside of the neighborhood as police do their work and try to get these family members out of this home safely, try to talk down this man with a gun. Again, I wanted to share some information that we got directly from a woman who says she's the cousin of one of the people inside that house. She says the woman inside the house is 39 years old, pregnant, due to deliver a child any day now. And she says the man with a gun inside that house is the father of that unborn child. She also tells us there's a 15-year-old inside the home with a suspect. Henry County says there's potentially a third person inside, but they can't confirm that quite yet. What we do know is there are people inside that home and they are in danger. Latasha Givens is also in Henry County for us. Latasha, what can you tell us? There are just dozens and dozens of police officers there from many different jurisdictions.
That's right, Cheryl. I can't remember the last time we've had a breaking news situation where I can count more than 10 different agencies from different departments all around the surrounding counties. I am standing actually between two different subdivisions, the Eagle Ridge subdivision and the Highlands at Arbor Cove. And if you take a look, you can see police departments from various agencies. This is just a different vantage point. Another thing that we are seeing on the Eagle Ridge subdivision side, the street is blocked off, but neighbors are trying to figure out what's happening. So what we're seeing is officers redirecting traffic, trying to answer quick questions as they can, but also monitor the situation and make sure that they remain safe and the other officers who are working this scene. We're going to continue to gather some more information and we'll come back to you shortly.
All right, I keep thinking about Latasha, the family members, the people whose loved ones are inside that house, and they know that they are inside the house with someone who is accused of shooting two officers, and it is a tenuous, dangerous situation. And here they sit almost 2.5 hours after that first call and just waiting to know if their loved ones are going to be okay, and thinking about what the people inside the house are going through right now. Latasha, I know there are a lot of people near you that will know this family and know the people involved, and it's just unsettling and worrisome for everyone in that area who never expected to come home on a Thursday afternoon to this playing out in their neighborhood.
That's right, Cheryl. And you can actually feel that energy. Other situations, sometimes something tragic has already happened. In this situation, we're hoping for the best, but we don't know what is going to happen. So as officers are here investigating, you have people who live here who are wondering what's going to happen as well. Mm-hmm. So that is definitely nerve-wracking for everyone here at the scene.
All right, we do know there is a medical helicopter and an ambulance in that neighborhood on standby in case they are needed. We hope that neither are needed. Crash Clark joining us one more time because there had been quite a backup on 75 for some time. How are things looking now?
Yeah, Cheryl, when this thing first started to unfold, they shut down I-75 right around Hudson Bridge. Now, unfortunately, the Sky Tracker camera frozen there, but we'll take you to the maps because when this all began to happen and we realized that there were officers that were not just involved, but they were injured, that were shot, they shut down 75 northbound near Hudson Bridge, and we saw some massive delays, as you can imagine, shutting down a major interstate. In fact, folks coming in through Henry County up from Locust Grove towards McDonough into Stockbridge were in a standstill situation. A much improved ride now. You see a lot more green on the map there on 75. Those southbound delays, more than likely, we saw a lot of cars heading southbound from Highway 138, making their way down south through Clayton and Henry County. Probably spring breakers. Remember, we've got one more week of spring break. Here we are Thursday at 1:25 in the afternoon. So we certainly could be seeing that flow of southbounders. But what we want to do is I want to pull the map out here, giving Highway 23 one of the alternates for folks to get around this. Still a little bit of volume out there, but I think for those of you now that have to hit the roads, if you're going to take I-75, you're going to be in good shape in both directions, 75 north and south. There's Jodico Road there. I've got it circled on the map. We had to completely shut that down, or I should say GSP shut that down there. They were just trying to limit the amount of cars to get on the road while they were transporting one of the officers up to Grady. Now here we can see again Stockbridge and McDonough circled them both there. Much of that traffic has pretty much recovered. You could still see a little bit of volume there on 75 up towards Forest Parkway and Terra Boulevard. Of course, Terra Boulevard, one of the alternates we were giving for folks to get around that. But then we'll zoom in a little bit closer to the actual subdivision, and that's what we see right there. We see roads that are shut down, as we were hearing that they're not going to allow anybody in this subdivision. So that's probably going to be the scene there for quite a while, at least until this thing is resolved. They're going to keep everyone away from this subdivision. But the good news is, as far as travel along I-75, it's far enough off the road. As we zoom in once again, you see 75 off to the west. It's not going to impact the ride on 75, but certainly those surface streets there will be impacted. And Cheryl, I'm going to go ahead and give it back to you now, because GDOT's also telling me now that they've got all the exits, all the entrances reopened on I-75. So as far as they're concerned, from a traffic standpoint now, it's business as usual back through Henry County.
All right, well, that's a good piece of news. We appreciate that. Crash, thank you so much. Crash Clark and Cheryl Preheim here in the 11 Alive newsroom. For those of you just joining us here for our breaking news coverage on 11alive.com, I want to share with you everything that we know up to this point. We have 2 Henry County police officers at Grady Memorial Hospital, a level 1 trauma center in Atlanta, being treated after being shot in Henry County. We can confirm both are listed in stable condition, which means they're not getting worse, not getting better. Both have non-life-threatening injuries. 11 Alive reporter John Sherrick spoke to the mother and father-in-law of one of the officers, who say that his wife is with him. He is an Army veteran, 2 tours of duty. Again, family with him there at Grady Hospital. Henry County is not sharing the names of the officers or specifics about their injuries, but we do know they're being treated. The woman you're seeing there in this video is a family member of the ones inside that home in Henry County. They have told us that there are at least 2 people in that house. These women tell us there is a 15-year-old child inside that home, a teenager, a boy. They tell us there's also a woman who's pregnant in that house who's set to deliver any day. This is video from about an hour and a half ago, of a medical helicopter. This helicopter transported one of the Henry County police officers to Grady Hospital. The other went by ambulance, as Crash was saying, as they shut down the highway to get a fast and clear path for that officer to get the treatment that he or she needed at the hospital. What is happening inside this subdivision right now in Stockbridge, Eagle Ridge Subdivision, is they're trying to talk a man out of a house. We know he has weapons. We know there are people inside with him, a teenager and a woman who is expecting a child. Henry County says there could be a 3rd person inside. It started when a woman went to check on her sister, concerned about her safety, opened the garage, saw blood inside the garage, and called 911. When Henry County police got there, shots were fired. 2 officers were shot and taken to the hospital. There has been a standoff since that point. We don't know that anyone inside the house has been injured. We do know that they have been threatened, according to police. That suspect, according to family, is the father of the unborn child in that house. We are told that that man is texting with family members outside. It is good that there is some communication between the person with a gun and outside that house, but up till now, there's been no movement to get that man outside. We have Jonesboro Police, Clayton County, Georgia State Patrol, and Henry County all working this together, working to try to resolve this with everyone out of that home safely. We're going to continue to monitor this situation, both from Grady Hospital and Henry County, as they try to safely get that family out of the house. We will continue to update 11alive.com. We encourage you to download our app. We will send out alerts as we get more information. We'll have more on 11 Alive 5 and 6 as these Henry County police officers continue their treatment at Grady Hospital after being shot, and we will continue to update you as we get more information.